this is an implant of endometriosis, so you can see it. Um, these are fibroids. So fibroids look like fatty tissue. The implants are right there for the endometriosis. So you can see those little tiny implants, but they're so tiny, but they're so bad. They're really troublemakers. Here, in like this kind of fibroid, this is what we call submucosal, that is like in the wall here. And this is easy to take out. So we can go in there, we go like this, scoop it out, and take it out. Fibroids are love blood because your hormones feed the fibroids. So the younger you are when you have fibroids, the bigger they'll get. So if you are in your 50s, by the time you go through menopause, the lack of hormones in the ovaries will shrink them, and they'll look like grapes, dried up grapes, when they shrink. But as you're young, they'll start getting bigger. They don't get smaller; they usually get bigger.
Are they fat?
No, they look like fat, but
What
they're
are
not.
they actually made out of?
It's tissue.
Just tissue.
It's tissue, and it's fed by the vessels in your uterus. So usually we have a procedure that we do the artery that feeds the muscle itself of the uterus. We sometimes can try to block it so that it doesn't feed it directly, and then they shrink. But most of the time we can just go in through here, and we can do that through a hysteroscope, a hysteroscopy, which may be a word that is in there. I don't know if it's in there. No, it's one of the added words that I gave you guys, a
Yes.
hysteroscopy.
Yes.
A hysteroscopy is the word, it sounds like hysterectomy, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's through an instrument, we can put the camera in here, we can see all in here, and through that same instrument, it has scissors or like a laser that can actually go around, and we can scoop this out. Once we do that, this is fine. Like this one's outside the wall. So in order to do this one, we would have to lose this piece right here. When we do that kind of surgery, we have to make a hole in the uterus. And the uterus is going to look like Swiss cheese. Okay, we literally take a hole and take it out. That's called a myomectomy. And that may be a word that I also gave you. I'm not sure.
No.
Myo, M-Y-O, mectomy, M-E-C-T-O-M-I.
And so it's a fibroid then?
Yes, for the fibroids.
And would that hurt too?
You'll done under anesthesia. You
No,
will be
like afterwards, like if you have, the reason why I'm asking is I usually have a lot of pain and the doctor, during an ultrasound, he explained that it was when they are named after a person with a condition, not a condition. Well, anyway, he said that I had cavities in my uterus.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
he
my
said that
cornea.
will produce pain unless I would take
The wall out.
contraceptive pills for the rest of my life. Well, I don't do well on the pills, so that's why I'm asking. If you take that chunk out and leave the hole, will that do the same effect?
I'm going to tell you about that condition in a minute. When we do this hole, we do surgery, you're asleep, we take it out, and after that, it heals on its own. You don't feel really anything, just soreness. That's it, and it will grow back. The uterus is the second organ that we have that grows back. So we can take this out, and this will grow back again. Not the fibroid, but once you have a fibroid, your chances of getting more fibroids are high, very high. Now this one is really, we call it pendulated because it's like a pendulum, it hangs. These are really easy to just take out. Like this one up here is too high. We cannot touch that one. If we want to remove that one, if it's really, really large, because it's intramural, it's between the muscles, we would have to actually remove the uterus because it's too high up in the cavity. But most of the other ones we can remove easily in day procedure usually. Myomectomy may be an overnight procedure, depending how big they are.
The myomectomy is when you cut, right?
Yes, when we
The
cut.
fibroid.
And we tell you you cannot get pregnant for at least a year, similar to the comb, because we need to wait till that grows back. Otherwise, you lose your pregnancy, or it will rupture your uterus.
So that
2
grows
weeks.
out. and then-
Yep. Yep. In
You
order to
said
get pregnant.
sorry to interrupt.
No,
You said the uterus was the other thing, and what else?
The liver. The liver. She knew it.
So how they remove the uterus? They go through the vagina?
We can remove the uterus through the vagina. If the uterus is small enough,
Wow.
we usually can remove it through the vagina. We go in, and basically what we do is we pull it and we start cutting in pieces, and we just pull it out through the vagina.
It's like a
So it's really easy to do. We do a lot of the hysterectomies nowadays that way, as long as there's nothing going on in the ovaries.
What do they do? Do you put a sack, a bag, or you grows a wall grows?
After we remove the uterus?
Yeah.
No, after we take everything out here, we basically close the top here, we remove this, we close this, and just your vagina is left open. That's it. We don't touch the wall. Yeah, it's just a hole. It's a space in there. We close the space, the muscle, we close it, and that's it. Where the uterus was, and that's it. You'll have, the intestines will have more room. They do, because the uterus takes a lot of room from it too. And you have less pressure in your bladder, which is awesome. Because the bladder is right on top of the uterus. So that's why when we're pregnant, we feel like we have to pee all the time. Because the bladder is right there, the uterus sitting on it, and it's making you go all the time. The baby just makes you go. All right, let's continue. Now we're pregnant. So, as we get pregnant and bigger, the baby puts a lot of pressure in our back. That's why a lot of women have a lot of problems with the intestines, and that's why a lot of women have problems with their back. Many people say, oh, I got an epidural anesthesia, and that's why I have back pain. No, your kid gave you back pain. And, your kid did that for 9 months. So the epidural, we just put an injection right between these two. That's all we do, and it spreads some medicine right in there. We don't go any further than that. And it's really the pregnancy that has pushed your back in so all the way back that has actually disaligned your spine. So all this here, all in the, from the waist down, gets totally gets put somewhere, because the baby keeps pushing in, out, and in. So some women get what they call back labor. Those are the kids that are really pushed back. And those are the ones that they start with a lot of pain here in the legs, a lot of pain in the lower back, and in the butt, and that's back labor, we call it, because the baby just keeps pushing, and it's really nicely sacked right in here. Most of the body's turned the other way and giving you position. Here, the baby can move right up here around, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, 14 weeks, 15 weeks, up to 20 weeks. The kid has all the space in the world. A 24-week baby, we go by weeks. So 24-week baby, which is almost 5 months, is normally around 1 pound. Babies who are born at that time, we can save them if they come out after 24 weeks. If they come out at 24.5 days, we usually can try saving them, because the trachea has been developed. If they have no trachea yet, under the 24 weeks, we have nothing to put air in. The lungs are developed, but this is not connected to this yet. So we have nothing to put in. So we have no trachea to work with. If the baby's 24.5, 25 weeks, 26 weeks, now we got a small trachea, and we can put a tube in and feed oxygen to the rest of the body and try to save the baby. At that point, most of the lungs are not fully developed, so we have to give the baby medicine to make the lungs develop. And and there's a lot of complications with babies who are born that early. They could have hemorrhaging in the brain because the brain's not ready for oxygen yet. So the little tiny arteries are so tiny, they're thinner than your hair, a string of hair. And we have to put blood in, we have to go through the belly button because they don't have the arteries, our needles are too big. We have needles that look like the hair. When I first started working as a PA, they wanted to train me to put IVs on these babies. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was not able to do it. You couldn't see. It was like a tiny fine line. And you couldn't pass the vein because it would go. So I just couldn't. I can't do anything to babies. Give me an adult. No. Give me an adult and I'll do it. But I wasn't able to do it. I had to wait, get another job so I could work with adults because I couldn't do babies. And I didn't know that's what they wanted me to do. And I was like, and you don't learn that in school. You learn it on the job. They train you on the job. Oh yeah. Yep. In school, we train with ourselves. We look like junkies. We look like junkies. I will let them draw my blood because I have gray veins, and I will let them draw my blood or pull my blood out. That's how we used to learn from each other. Especially if we want to learn on a dark-skinned man and anybody with color, it's hard to see the veins. So we would crucify our students that were dark skin color because we need to practice on you because you need to train people, otherwise you hurt them. You do a lot. So we always did that to ourselves. And I was the first one with the arms. So, but that's how we learn. We do it on the job. That's how we learn. So babies, when the baby's ready, the placenta has a life of its own. The placenta, it lives only a certain amount of time. Placentas don't live more than 42 weeks, sometimes less. So that's why when a woman is past her due date, we start bringing them in almost daily to see, to make sure the baby's not under stress. Because the placenta can stop working. The moment the placenta stops working, your baby dies. Because the placenta feeds your baby oxygen, blood, nutrients, everything.
That's a little over 10 months.
Yeah,
About 10 months.
yeah, it can survive around there, yeah. That's why if you're overdue, they keep bringing you like every other day to make sure that the placenta is still working.
Any kid that is born after 10 months, like under 10 months, after 10 months.
I had a lady that was born at 42 and a half.
I was born under 10 months.
Yeah,
That explains a lot about
Right?
you.
yeah, it's, if you're really overdue,
Because when my mom was supposed to give labor, there was a hurricane on the island and the hospital didn't have electricity.
oh wow,
So she couldn't give birth.
you couldn't give birth, wow,
Yeah,
imagine
and
that.
I mean, the doctor didn't want to risk it because they didn't have electricity.
Right,
But
right.
She was due, but my mom didn't have contractions.
Oh.
And she broke the water, but she didn't have contractions.
That was dangerous.
Yeah, that was, so the doctors didn't want to like induce the birth because there was no electricity
Yeah.
in the thing, and I ended up eating the placenta. That explains a lot.
I don't think you ate the placenta. I think the placenta dried up.
I broke the water and
Yeah.
the water.
Probably.
Well, I don't know, that's why I'm telling, it's sort of like a question. My oldest daughter was born, 41 weeks and 5 days.
Mhm.
So, from her waist down, she was really dry. Her skin was extremely dry.
Mhm.
And like a lot of the skin was almost like peeling off.
Mhm.
And half up was different. Why is that?
A lot of babies are born like that. They start shedding the skin. She obviously started shedding because she was older. She started shedding the skin. We shed from the top down, so she started shedding her skin already. The skin that she was supposed to shed when she got out, she started doing it inside because she was so overdue. So a lot of babies are born with dead skin, because the water, the vernix, which is that white stuff that protects the skin for the babies. Everything in this, it's amazing how we're made. everything inside is, so we have this white